Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Nostalgic.
And I'm RareWarington.
And welcome to a new episode of Kooky Quest. This episode, it kind of marks a milestone in our channel and our collaborative efforts together. Matter of fact, it was just over a year ago that we began this cookie journey together with when we first met last year at the Game On Expo, and it's kind of at this point come full circle. But what is going to be our quest here today, Sam?
So today's a kind of exciting one. It's kind of a Kooky Quest special. So it's kind of marking, as we've mentioned, if you guys, in case you guys missed it, in our first and most recent Kooky Questions stream episode. It's been a year now that Drew and I have actually collaborated together here on YouTube. We of course started on the Nostalgic channel, and we've moved over to this new Kooky Crew channel. And so today we're kind of going to be talking a little bit about our year and the experience, and kind of going back to where it all started at Game On Expo at the Phoenix Convention Center. We both made it out again this year, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and share some footage and some stuff that we got there.
And we want to thank you guys for helping our channel, of course, reach over 50 subscribers. Matter of fact, we're one away from 60. So if you're watching this video, help us to achieve that new milestone there. But yeah, last year we came back from the Game On Expo. We played Battletoads, Battle Maniacs together in the SNES, talked about our experiences there. Then it just naturally flowed from there. Just everything that has followed since, that with playing Donkey Kong Country, and then of course spinning off into Kooky Quest and having those discussions there. But I think we can just, without any further ado here, yeah, let's talk about again our journey to the Game On Expo. And it was a little bit different for me this year, whereas last year I went with my brother down and we made the drive. This time I just took the entire Drew crew, that is my family, which myself, my wife, and all 6 of our kids. And that was crazy. It took a couple of days of driving down and such, but like there was a lot of fun to be had. And we checked that in an Airbnb, and just the drive itself down was a lot of fun. And I think even we had a few little minor weather things going on, but nothing too severe like what happened last year there with you there, Sam, from what I remember.
Oh yeah, it was a walk in the park, and I'm going to be honest with you, Drew. After the experience last year, I was like, well, do I really want to, drive all the way again? So we just went ahead and we drove to Salt Lake, 3 hours, 15 minutes, and we flew out to Phoenix. So it was a little easier on the travel there this year. However, I'll get it out of the way and won't mention it again. The only travel that got me this year was on the way back. For the first time ever, we hit an elk just about 15-20 minutes away from our house. But luckily, we're okay. The car is salvageable, and we've got it repaired now. So a couple $100 later, no worries and no regrets, honestly. I'm glad to hear that everything turned out good there, was because those kind of accidents can be really bad. Of course, I've had some bad vehicle things happen like in my own life and such, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that you two made it out of that okay. And of course, really with the Game On Expo, I ended up getting there a day earlier than Sam myself, so I just maybe talk about some of my first day's experience when we got there on the Friday. Of course, this is the 10th year anniversary, so the Game On Expo was even bigger than it ever has been before. Like I remember last year, it was like kind of all within like one neat little square. Yeah, that you could like see everything. And this year they expanded it and made it even bigger. More booths, I think even more guests than ever before. And they had pretty much the arcade and the gaming session was pretty much like segued into its own little separate thing there. So it was kind of one of the funniest things is that when I was going around there with my family, is that the kids, a lot of the times, they just wanted to play Mario Kart on the Switch, on the one display that they had there. Like, you have all these cool new things, and you just want to play Mario Kart and Smash Brothers on the Switch. But we did do that, and we played around with some arcade games. One little neat arcade game they had was that they had Rhythm Heaven as an arcade cabinet. I didn't know there was a Japanese arcade game for Rhythm Heaven. So there's some neat little things there. I think the pinball collection is also really neat, where they did enjoy some of that, because pinballs are just fun. It doesn't matter how old they get. Pinballs are just a fun thing to play around with. But the kind of, before I go more into that, what were some of the thoughts on just the arcade aspect of the expo this year? So I'm glad you brought that up. So actually, as this back here shows, that I'm a pretty big Battletoads fan, and actually, and you've seen this as well, Drew. You were the first to spot it, I believe. Actually, I think you told Kev about it last year. But getting to spot the Battletoads arcade cabinet, which we played a little bit of, and seeing the Kevin signature, which we'll put up on the screen here. Yeah, just kind of a really cool thing. Dated of last year, Game On Expo, where we got to meet him the first time, where we first collaborated. Like, really cool. Every year I go down there, it's become a tradition. We both we hit the Battletoads arcade, and then in honor of my mother, who was just a Miss Pac-Man master, when I was a child, we had it on NES, and I couldn't get to any of the cutscenes as they were. So my mom would sort of just go through the levels and like play the cutscenes. I would just watch it through that. So now every year we have a run at it, and did pretty good. But yeah, definitely really cool. The free open arcade being one of the coolest elements, in my opinion, for Game On Expo, for sure.
It really is. I just love the variety of stuff they have. It's just like older arcade games, really kooky arcade stuff, like a train game, where you just like, you have to pull a lever and try to like simulate like how you move on a train and such, and like that itself was like kind of neat there. But they gosh, like the Miss Pac-Man, I remember, generally speaking, I think I can only get to the first 2 cutscenes at the most, as far as that. And usually game over sometime after that point. But yeah, the arcade section, of course, is fantastic. And we even, when we met up, we played a little bit in the old CRT TV section. And man, those are just an endangered species. Just to mention that topic, I mean, it's, you get retro games, but like to get the retro experience, you kind of need the CRT TV. But like those are harder to get nowadays.
Yeah, and like people told me, like I wasn't there for Friday, but apparently like a lot of the games and like all the rare stuff gets picked up on Friday, and like Saturday is the biggest day for them. So meeting you that day, it was pretty crowded, as you'll see from some of our footage in the montage coming up. But yeah, it was excellent, and like we got to sit down. We actually had a little, I wouldn't call it a kerfuffle, but a little bit of a misunderstanding. So one of the staff they're known as NPCs.
Yes.
So we sat down because Drew actually had noticed it prior to me, and as soon as I noticed it, we saw Smash Remix.
Yes.
And it was on cart in the N64. So we were going, oh wow, I haven't played that. I'd love to play that right now, especially on console. Let's go ahead. And one of the staff, I guess, had noticed that we had, kind of just immediately honed in on the game, and we're going, oh, there's a competition right now. I believe that was for training purposes or something like that.
Yeah.
And that we can maybe play it later after the competitions were done. But here's regular Smash 64, which it was fine. But that was one little thing that came up where I was like, oh man, was really hoping to play on this really cool modded cartridge.
Yeah, I was really hoping that too. It was like basically the meme, like my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. It was like it felt like it at that precise moment. But we got to play regular Smash 64. And so yeah, Game On Expo has a whole bunch of retro games you can play, and we have here the original Smash Brothers. I'm gonna maybe play a quick round of versus. Let's see. I'm trying to remember who I made. I think I mostly played as Mario back in the day. So yeah.
I used to play as Kirby quite often back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same as a main since back when I was 5.
Oh yeah, but looks like they got everyone there, so we're gonna play around. And man, even just that is fun. I really wonder like why Nintendo has never released it to Nintendo Switch Online before. NSO. It's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just that Nintendo just wants to pretend that none of their previous Smashes exist. And like honestly, I wouldn't have hope for Melee either, even though Melee would single-handedly like explode the tournament industry. It really would. I mean, like suddenly it's like you wouldn't have to get that frail disc anymore to play the game, or the emulation, or whatever those other methods. You'd have at least one other official way to play Melee, one of the most important games that Nintendo has ever released. It just is. But that's just its own thing. And of course they have their own little tournaments going on where for both like retro games and like Smash Brothers, like you name it, lots of like fun stuff going on. But one other thing, of course, like a big thing that's going on at the Game On Expo are the booths. There are so many booths this year, and I think it's kind of funny. Like one of those things that like I kind of don't like that has exploded in popularity the last few years is the 3D prints. I mean, they're neat. They're neat in their own little way, but they just kind of feels like you see them everywhere. But
You see
still,
them everywhere.
you do see them,
You
including.
guys got some cool ones though. You and the kids picked up some pretty cool looking ones.
We actually did pick up a few cool looking ones, like some spiders and like different animals and or like dragons and whatnot. But yeah, there were some neat ones. Oh yeah, my son got a Pokeball one. And it was able to put a couple of Pokemon inside, and that was pretty neat. I mean, yeah, I think it's maybe too much prevalent, but it is its own little neat thing, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and that's why. And it seems like they're very cheap to make and produce. And there's a question I've had. Maybe I don't know if you know the answer to this here. Is like, how does like licensing work with that, or do they even bother licensing? Is there a license process for these 3D prints that they're able to do all these characters, because a lot of them are Disney characters or Pokemon characters, all these different stuff? That like, is there an official licensing process to this thing going on?
You know, I don't know if it's anything like music covers, like Grant Kirkhope sort of did. Hold on one second. We're recording.
Jump in. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I do have a drink here, but thank you. Shout out to Sell the Badger, Sell as well on Twitter. You can find her in our description. She usually helps us with our logos, our thumbnails, things like that. Definitely a really cool, important member of the Kooky Crew, and definitely appreciate her presence. But yeah, so to continue what I was saying, what was I saying, Drew?
About licensing and 3D prints.
Thank you. Okay, so to continue what I was saying, so I mean, in regards to like music covers, so Grant Kirkhope's touched on this a little bit. In regards to like his Banjo-Kazooie remix, his DK64 remaster album. So like you can obtain rights, you kind of pay out a bit to the companies, but when it comes to like the Artist Alley, I can't really say for sure what the process is. I know you have like, I believe like a Falcor 3D print.
Yes, I did.
Never-ending Story.
I did get that one a little while ago. Yep.
So like stuff like that, it's like I'm not sure if they have to go through the proper channels or if they're not distributing enough product. I really can't say. I'm sure people let us know in the comments if you guys are aware. But like,
yes, please.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that there.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, there were like so many other booths around the place as well, like lots and lots of artists, and like lots of retro gaming routes. Matter of fact, me and Sam had a good time just walking around, kind of seeing what they had with the retro games and things like that. A couple of stuff that honestly looked like even stuff that I was tempted to get, like cartridges like Zombies Ate My Neighbors or Rayman 2. Just a good variety of stuff. And what's kind of funny is that sometimes they would prominently display stuff that would relate to some of the guests that were there. Like if there was like a section where they would have like rare games that you could buy a card and then you can get it signed by one of the rare people that was there. But man, that was just the shopping alone aspect of it was just really pretty good experience there.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like even like when you're not buying the items, just walking around, getting to see, it's like a kid in a candy shop sort of thing for us. So like just walking around and seeing, especially like custom things, modded games. I believe we walked by, it'll be in our montage, Dragon Ball Z Mario Kart, sort of like a modded Mario Kart.
That was awesome. Just kind of seeing that the people come with all kinds of crazy stuff for just these different mods. I've told myself over and over again, I need to get one of those EverDrive 64s so I can just play the vast variety of like mods that they've created for things like Banjo-Kazooie. Speaking of which, they've made the Marco 64 Kirko's mod.
Yeah,
he's released a new one. I want to play that one. So yeah, I mean, I need to get that EverDrive so I can be able to play those cool modded experience like the before mentioned Smash remix and all those other really cool looking stuff. I just like that, but they're a tad pricey. So, but I want to get one of these days here.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a good investment. I mean, like, and seeing like we walked by those as well, like just modded consoles with displays. We also saw a lot of like rare stuff, like the I can't remember what the term is, but like the fold out sort of screen for the GameCube that you can just attach and mount to the GameCube console.
Yeah, I think it was like
just some.
Yeah, there was like the stuff for the TV display thing for like the GameCube that you can just flip up. Yeah,
just some really cool stuff there, man. It was really fun, and like Drew mentioned, like they had a lot of people had on display stuff for like Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk was there. People had like AVGN stuff because he was there to sign things and he was there with his band. Rare stuff, obviously, and actually some of it I saw in some other videos on YouTube. I actually snagged some of the stuff that was on display, which we'll talk about here in a minute. In fact, Do you want to go ahead and talk about some of your pickups there, Drew?
You know, myself, I just wasn't so focused on just like really buying
signatures
anything.
Are pickups.
Signatures are pickups. Yes, they are. This was kind of like just the trip down itself was somewhat of a stretch of like the budget in and of itself. You know, just getting down there, the lodgings and all the places we had to stay. But just getting down there, meeting cool people. And having those interactions and signage and all that stuff. That was just really cool stuff, and kind of a segue then to some of the cool people that we met. And of course, both of us had the opportunity to meet 3 original developers on the Banjo-Kazooie team, which was Grant Kirkhope, Chris Sutherland, and Steve Males. Of course, Grant, being the music composer for the series, Chris Sutherland being primarily in charge of helping with the programming, with the controls and such, and being the iconic voice of Banjo himself, and Kazooie and the sound effects there. And Steve Males, of course, the original character designer of Banjo-Kazooie, Yooka-Laylee, King K. Rool, a number of iconic characters there. So yeah, let's just talk a bit about just a little bit of our interactions there in the booth. I go up to Grant. My kids are actually pretty big fans of some of his music as well. They love the Spiral Mountain remix on the Rejiggied album. We told him that, and I brought that up to him, and like Grant's like pointing at his piece of paper that has the music. It's like this thing where they go da 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 da, and he was just happy to hear that appreciation there. I had him sign my Donkey Kong 64 cartridge, because I think that's my personal favorite soundtrack of his, and I had him sign Banjo-Kazooie last year. But I mentioned to him, I really appreciate your new Donkey Kong 64 remix album. I forgot what's it called again? Like the album called exactly? I forgot. I listen to it most every day, but its name is leaving me right now. It's called Revisited. Yes. But no, it's just really good stuff, and I just really it was really good talking with him about that, and I think he's mentioned this otherwise, but he talked with me about before, like how he was going about the composition for it, where he would start out with just a more remade version of the original tune for the first half, and then the second half he'd put in variation. And I really appreciated that, listening to that, because when we listen to something like Frantic Factory, in the middle part it has this entirely new cool sounding segue into the next part, like dun 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 dun. It's
sort of pentatonic breakdown.
Exactly.
So good.
It is really good, and like, oh my gosh, even just like stuff like Donkey DK Isle. It gets me right here. His own stuff, and like he says, he's a sucker for that sappy stuff. But like that's Grant Kirkhope for. He's just a nice, just cool guy to talk to, and like the goodness of his heart shows in his music. That's the most I can say about him. And like kind of one of the last things as we were the last interactions there, my son mentioned that had that that there are 6 siblings in his family, and he's like, oh gosh, no more. That's exactly.
I think Grant has 2 kids, so he knows what it's like to have a couple. But yeah, that's quite the quantity there, Drew. You have a whole Kong crew going on.
I was just going to say, like, we'll just kind of go with one at a time here. That's for me talking with Grant. So what about your conversation with Grant there?
Yeah, so Grant's like a really cool guy. Like every time and it seems like he sort of retained information, like he remembered, like when I brought up Donkey Kong 64 again, how it was important to me and everything, and he was asking about it, and I brought up my mother again, and actually one of the things right behind me now on the wall, I got a little print that they had available, and Grant had Grant sign it. Had a good chat with him about a few different things, which we'll talk about a little bit. Like, so the last conversation, we didn't really have, I already had things signed. I had talked to them. I had actually gone to a panel, which we'll include in the last montage in this episode. But I went to a Rare Reunion panel, and like after that, we got to talk to them again. Drew was actually with me on Saturday of the con, the second day, where I was able to go talk with Chris Sutherland, because I hadn't had the chance yet. And it was just really great to just have chats casually with those fellows. Like, they're just really cool, really down to earth guys. And having Grant sort of just like give his condolences and remember that it was like an important game to me was really cool. And yeah, like getting to chat on the last day, as I was bringing up, like kind of talking about first 4 nights, or day 4 nights, excuse me. The new Davide studio that's kind of opened up, and they're sort of recruiting new members, making something kind of under the radar right now. So Grant mentioned, we brought it up because I had to bring it up, and Grant mentioned, he said Davide Soliani kind of gives him that spirit of like the Stampers, where like it's like,
wow,
he is such a creative individual, and he has such a good idea in his head, very strong-minded of what he wants from the game, how he wants to collaborate, and he's always open to new ideas. But like him just advocating Davide's creative brilliance was really cool to hear. And that Grant has already said he's already seen some levels, and he's already composing after getting access to some footage for the game.
So, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. And as long as we're on the subject of some like soft reveals of information here, talking to Chris Sutherland, and I don't recall if you were with me for this one, but hearing him say like, I believe Gav brought up that we're doing multiple projects. He's like, we're actually working on 3 projects right at the moment here at Playtonic. And one obviously being Replayly, Yuka Replayly, coming out sometime this year, with much anticipation from our crowds and us especially. But yeah, and then they're doing something, as you said, like some stuff that you'd expect from them, and some things you might not expect from them. So
intriguing.
Really eager to see some more information come out on that. But it was really cool to have a little conversation with him. I believe you were with me, Drew, when he unwarranted just brought up like, have you guys seen Donkey Kong Bonanza? And we're like, absolutely, completely, yes. We're looking forward to it. And his fascination with like the way that Nintendo EPD kind of handled the camera whilst like digging, and him just saying like they're really looking forward to it. They're really impressed with it, and like even still with Nintendo, they can look at what they're doing and kind of like be like, wow, like I didn't know how they would approach a camera with like a digging mechanic like that, but they really made it work. And just kind of explaining his appreciation for that, and which you'll see a little bit more in the panel coming up in the montage. But it was really cool, man. It was really cool. That was
some really good stuff. I mean, like I think one of the things I did want to mention as well, I also got the chance to talk a bit with Chris Sutherland. He talked a bit about just some of his prior work, like really working on those controls for stuff like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and all the different characters and transformations, which he honestly did fantastic work on, with just like giving all these characters different feels with how they moved around and things like that. And he mentioned, of course, with the Yuka Replay coming up, he mentioned how we're working on putting some things that would be some surprises, and he clarified, good surprises. So hopefully you'll find there'd be good surprises. But I'm looking forward to seeing what those surprises are. As far as a Yuka Replay there. So I think we're going to get some really good stuff, and I think what I'm really hoping is that what we get for Yuka Replay ties into future projects of theirs. But I think that's part of the reason they're making it in the first place. They really kind of want to reboot the ukulele franchise as a whole there. So we'll see where that leads up here. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit more maybe about chatting with Steve Mails? What did you maybe get to learn from him?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up too. And Steve was really great. It seems like of the 3, I mean, I guess it's a common element of like the old rare British developers, but a little self-deprecation, Mr. Mayos.
Yes.
But yeah, getting to talk to him about when he started at Rare. I picked up his game last year. It was the first game he ever worked on, which was Battletoads and Double Dragon. So talking to him a little bit about the development of that and how he was able to do a few characters, namely one of the villain characters, which I think was one of the bosses, one of the enemy bosses in the game, which was really his first. I mean, kind of like if you look now, man has a long record of villains in games, and that was kind of his first adaptation of one. So really cool. And him kind of talking about during the panel, I briefly about working with Greg Mayles.
Yes.
As his brother, which actually Drew gave me a good question to ask them.
Yes, I was curious. I don't think I've quite had a chance to see what his take on that was exactly.
Yeah, we've been holding off, and actually I haven't seen much panel footage. I haven't seen any yet. So last year they went ahead and they had like a little VOD of the panel's full duration. So I don't have that much, but hopefully we'll get some more as time goes on. But I do have some, so stay tuned to the end of the episode to see a little bit of that. It was a really good, informative time. And as far as Steve Mails, he seemed like he was really tired. He said he was the only one. He said that he couldn't sleep the last night, and kind of having his what do you call it? Sort of the jet lag.
Yes.
And he said he just couldn't believe how many people the first day were there, and it felt really appreciated. But he apparently after the first day was awful. It was hard to wind down, so he had a little trouble sleeping. But sounds like they had a really good trip. And talking to him about ukulele coming up, Replayley rather, got to learn that Kev Bayless actually is responsible for the Rextro arcades, kind of the art style they're going for, the direction now, as well as the new model for Rextro himself. Mr. Kev Bayless there, and I got that information from Steve Mails. And Steve is working on some new anims, a little bit of Gary Talbot of Playtonic. He's mostly taking animations, he told me. But Steve still does a little bit of little animations here and there, and there's some new stuff character-wise that we still have yet to see for Replayley. So apparently stay tuned for that.
Intriguing. I did mention, when I was talking with him a bit, first I showed him, like, one of the first things I did, I showed him, like, a little chalk drawing that my daughter did at Banjo-Kazooie, just like the little drawing she did of, like, the Smash render, and he liked that. I mentioned, I pointed to K. Rool and stuff, do you think he's going to show up? And he's like, yeah, he wasn't so sure, but you never know. But yeah, it just really was great meeting with those three, and we'll definitely have more to talk about as Sam mentioned with the panel and such later. But it's just I wanted to mention some other guests I had the opportunity to meet. One that I just enjoyed meeting for a few minutes was Dawn M. Bennett, who is a voice actress for a number of characters, including Lilac from Freedom Planet, which has happened to be actually the first voice acting job she ever did. And so I like her work in that. I played that game a few years ago, and she honestly did really good. Talked with her about it. She signed a little prints of Lilac there. When we also another person I really enjoyed getting a chance to meet was legendary animator Don Bluth, who is there at the convention, still going to conventions even at 87 years old. We stood in line for quite a while to meet him there, but it was really neat because while we're in line, there's the sketches you can buy that he's done of the characters that he's worked on, including Elliot from Pete's Dragon, because he was the animation director there. Of course, as Mrs. Brisby, the characters across all of his different movies. And when we were in line, someone commissioned him to do a sketch of Sarah from Land Before Time. So I kind of like peeking over the shoulder there, and I kind of see him doing his thing, drawing Sarah there, and that was just kind of neat to see there. We talked with him for a little bit, and he actually signed a children's book that he's done. It's about I can't remember the recall the title, but we'll put a picture up and such. It's about a whale. It's kind of it kind of definitely has a Don Bluth kind of feel to it. It's about a whale that gets taken into captivity, and they make him into a movie star. So kind of like Free Willy a little bit, but it's the drawings have that very much that Don Bluth kind of charm to it. He signed the book for him. I talked with him just for a little bit there, and one thing, of course, that he's been working on for years at this point is getting a Dragon's Lair movie. And as of the last word that we've heard of it, and I think this was an update like a year or two ago, that Netflix was working on a live action adaptation, and they're as of the last update, like reworking the script, because they were thinking of doing a long interactive movie that then had a script over 400 pages long, and then it was just too long. It was too complicated to do that choose your own adventure kind of thing. But they're writing a traditional script, so maybe a Dragon's Lair movie will be released while Don Bluth is still with us. So we will see. And I mentioned that to him, and it's just like, it's all about the money. But yeah,
true.
It's one of his things. But he's made so many good movies and has such a unique style that impacted so many of us growing up and such. I mean, I even just showed my kids, The Secret of Nim a few weeks ago, and that's just such a good, surprisingly mature kind of story, and that's so lush and beautiful. And it was just it was kind of like, this is what Disney is supposed to be. And you can kind of say that Don Bluth was the Disney Renaissance before the Disney Renaissance, and he helped push Disney into the Disney Renaissance. So he's had an impact on the industry for sure, and it was good to meet with him. I understand you had a chance to meet with him a bit too.
So I didn't get to meet Don Bluth, sadly. I got to meet Rob Paulson. I got to see Don Bluth. I got to see Sam Witwer of Star Wars, Darth Maul, Star Killer. I got to see Tony Hawk from a distance. Wasn't gonna wait 2-hour line, but yeah, I got to see a lot of cool people there. Rob Paulson was cool to meet. I spent a lot of money on signatures. We'll show some pickups here. One of the montages here soon. But yeah, so like getting to at least meet Rob was really cool. Don Bluth, however, me and Drew were just talking about Pete's Dragon last night and like Secrets of Nim, Fern Gully, and like you said, like if not I mean, he really was, if not like the main force, he really was an absolute driving force in the Disney animated renaissance. Guy is just awesome, and everything, usually if he has an advocation to put into said film or plot, it's always something like about, it's usually really good morals, or kind of like Secrets of Nim or Fern Gully, kind of like a broader spectrum of like helping each other, helping the planet. Really cool, just individual there, and like you said, 87 years old, and not only is he still going strong, he's still going to cons. Just a really cool guy. Rob Paulson as well.
So I thought for some reason I thought you said before you weren't able to meet him, but you were able to actually get a chance to meet with Rob there.
I was, but I wanted to get a video, and I realized I think the video said it was about an $80 price.
Yes.
So that was the only thing where it was like, yeah, I couldn't justify it to myself. Yeah, like Drew said. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. There's a lot of stuff I was like, this is once in a lifetime, and a lot of it was still awesome. But like the amount of money it takes to make that happen is kind of hefty. And even coming back, we spent more than anticipated. But you know, like I said, no regrets. And it was a good thing, I guess, that I budgeted a little bit for the accident in the car and everything, and it all worked out for us. So good. I believe it was for the best.
Yes,
but I guess now would be a good time to transition to our first montage. Then maybe.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Oh, hey, Donkey Kong. Oh, Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
A lot of Sparks of Hope figure over here. Big Knuckles over there. Really cool stuff. A lot of cool vendors around here, man.
Oh yeah, it really is.
A lot of handmade, knitted plushes. Oh, that's really cool. All handmade. Oh, stickers. A lot of Kooky Quest. Oh my gosh, look at this Diglett. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Just taking a little video of a few different vendors around here. So, oh hey, that's terrible. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
One value pack.
Donkey Kong Land, Donkey Kong 94. That's crazy. That is just nuts.
Very cool. 500. It's still a value pack. That's really cool.
God, that's
I've
legit.
never had that, but I've never even tried it.
Oh man.
That's the first time I've touched one.
Oh, look at this.
Cool.
Oh, is there oh, I saw green cartridge. I'm hoping that was Rayman 2 for a second.
Looks like it's Battle Tanks.
Nope.
They do have some good games. 202.
Hopes were up for a second.
Two of the best sequels on the N64 right here.
Yep.
Oh, Snowboard Kids.
Oh.
$65 Snowboard Kids.
65.
It's gone up. It has gone up.
$65 for Snowboard Kids. Oh my gosh.
And not terrible. I might have to look up on my phone.
35. Oh, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That's a classic. I like that one.
We got our Banjo-Kazooie.
What the heck? Is it a signature on it?
I don't know. It says
Some kind of.
It looks like some store wrote on it.
Yeah, why would you do that?
It's filed. Oh, Snowboard Kids is tempting. I'm gonna keep them there. Dragon Ball cart. Mod of Mario Kart 64. Pretty cool. Some modded, customized consoles. Drew and I are just looking around Game On at the moment. More modded consoles with a screen mount.
What?
Lights and screen mount. Pretty cool.
It's a board.
That is pretty awesome.
I remember seeing that that screen
Should I get
for the
this for
GameCube.
one?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one of those in person. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never seen one in person either. Very cool.
We'll come back in a bit.
Got some pretty cool custom setups here. Hello Kitty GameCube. Very cool stuff.
I had to change the pattern. Yeah, the needle will retract.
This is way too cool. What's that?
It's the third row. Here's the battery, so it's not. That's why Halo, because that's what we do. At the end of the day, you choose what you
with you. And this, we got Soldier here. So cool. So cool. We got the flamethrowers.
Just to kind of elaborate more on the pickup, I did mention, of course, my copy of Donkey Kong 64 signed by Grant Kirkhope there. I even featured it in a recent video where I'm starting a Donkey Kong 64 playthrough there. And also I had a copy of Banjo-Tooie. I told him, because I didn't know, like, I saw the prices for the signatures, and I thought to myself, like, wow, are they going to kind of bundle them all together, kind of like what they did as musicians last year? But like, maybe you could, I know, like, you mentioned this earlier, that they had different pricing than last year because of the they weren't coming as musicians this time around.
Yeah, and I think that's more due to the regulations of Game On Expo. They do a great job, by the way. In fact, they've continually improved. It seems last year there was a registration desk that you kind of had to go through before you went through any of the respective lines. This year they had sort of a NPC staff stationed at every guest, and like you kind of just covered. So last year, I think it was $10 per signature, and I think that was standard for like Living Tombstone, who were one of the guests, one of the musical band guests this year. So like they were classified as like musical guests. So they were a band performing, and they had sort of whatever rate they decided for their signatures and what have you, and pictures. Pictures were actually free last year. However, them now being registered as guests, special guests, they took the standard sort of the photo, video, and the signature price that Game On kind of established. So it was a little, as Drew touched upon, a little pricier. It is once in a lifetime, so it's like meeting some of the guys for free, and then with the rare guys getting some things signed was really worth the time. But I guess like maybe in future the David Wise 5, which we got to meet all of them last year. There's a chance they might come back, and definitely worth it. But this year was really cool to see, especially Steve Nails and Chris Sutherland, who Chris Sutherland doesn't often go to any cons and hasn't been to one in America. So it was like the first one, my understanding, is him as a guest since like Space World, which is really, really cool.
Wow, that's cool. And then of course I mentioned a few other my pickups here. I had Steve Mails sign my copy of Banjo-Tooie, which of course he worked on, as I mentioned, as like one of the control programmers. And I had have a puzzle box of Banjo-Kazooie that was done by Fangamer, 1,000-piece puzzle box of the original cover art. And of course it has a bunch of his characters, Banjo-Kazooie, of course, and you know, that was fun to get signed by him. As far as the end of the pickups, I think I've mentioned pretty much all of them. I didn't really pick up anything for myself as far as like any of the booths or anything else like that. But you wanted to detail like a few more of your pickups there, Sam?
Yeah, like I said, kid in a candy shop. So a couple of my pickups, as I mentioned, the one signed by Grant, but had a few things that I got last year signed, like we were talking about. David Wise, Kev Bayless, got to sign Country. Nice. Really clean copy of Country I was able to find there last year. Got to talk with Steve about this, but the big one for me personally, I have Rare Replay. I've even played emulators, but now I finally own every single Nintendo 64 Rare game. So like that was really cool to pick up, and I got to barter. None of these I paid the price on the sticker, so let's just say that. And they were good deals already.
Have you ever played? I have to mention it. Have you played Jet Force Gemini before? Actually, on system before?
So I haven't played it on system actually. So I've only played it on Xbox One. Okay. So this will be a new experience for me. And in fact, I was telling a friend, I think I'm gonna give it a fair shot. I've never beaten that game. Jet Force is just one that I've tried, and it's unforgiving. It's like
it is,
you really
it
have
is
to achieve
unforgiving,
100%.
but like I would say, like even as you do need to at least try it, especially on the original console. There, it's just a unique feeling game, and yes, the controls are weird, they're odd, but like it's, I don't know, it's like it is definitely to this day still one of my favorite N64 games. A unique experience that Rare created, and I never played Mickey Speedway USA either. So like I'm just we'll have to get around to playing that maybe one of these days. Do you have anything else there that you wanted to show us?
I do have a few things, and I have only played Mickey Speedway on an emulator, so it'll be cool to experience that first time. But I have a few more things. So very important to me, as I kind of showed earlier. I mean, and I'm thinking we're gonna do a video here in future kind of showcasing this, but I was able to get, it's kind of mirrored here, but Grant Kirkup to sign, and we had a really long conversation just regarding just this. And as Drew touched upon, like what Grant said about like he would just do kind of like what people wanted to hear, the nostalgic element of like just a remastered version of the old tracks we grew up with. And just giving it something new about halfway through, or just throwing it in something a little fresh and remixing it there. But like, definitely one of my favorite things, really close to my heart, as like Drew was saying, like it's something really, really close to me. One of the last games I was able to play with my mother, trying to read through a guidebook, because I couldn't quite read so well at age 6. So really getting a lot of assistance with her. But on that note, I was able to pick up the player's guide for Donkey Kong 64,
that's
which
awesome.
is, oh dude, it's just so cool. I'll throw in a video while I'm talking here about it, but like there's some fold out pages of just like the entirety of Creme Isle and DK Isle there, and like just really cool. I'm gonna look more into it. I had when I was a kid. I'm not sure if it was the official Gorilla Guide from Nintendo Power, but really cool pickup there. One more. So I was also able, since I have the games and I have DKC2, I didn't have DKC1. I got a really clean, or rather the other way around, DKC2 instruction manual, which was really cool just to pick up, saw on the side just for cheap.
That's awesome.
And these are the big ones. So as Drew talked about, I got DK64 signed last year by Grant, but this year meeting Steve and Chris, Grant, some really important, all the gang, a lot of important members. They did make comments, especially Steve, about Grant taking up all the real estate on the cartridge, because they were given the back. But still super cool. And actually, when Steve Mayles was signing, I believe it was Casey's Impossible Lair game, Grant, we're doing a professional photo op, and Grant Kirkup came by and went, "Look at this guy! Like, he makes it all fancy. He's like, look, you can't even read what name it is. It could be anyone's name. Anyone could have written that. Look at my name's super clear." He's like, these artists now, they always have to make their names so elaborate you can't even read it.
Oh, that is awesome. Great, and I love the fact that Grant always like puts like, you know, it's kind of funny. Some guests are like, you pay for words, but Grant always just includes words. He always just writes something like okay, or you know, he just includes it, you know, because he's awesome like that.
So when he was saying, should I write this to Sam? Like, because he noticed after I'd come in the line like 3 times, like that, like he's like, should I just write to Sam or something? I'm like, oh sure, to Sam, RareWarington, appreciate it, because he was just super apt to like include a little extra. And so this right here,
oh man,
I now have I think I don't know, I have to count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 signatures of Rare devs. So we have David Doak, David Wise, Kevin Bayless, Steve Mayles, Chris Sutherland, and Grant Kirkup. Now
that
all
is
on Rare
amazing. That is amazing.
So pretty cool. And lastly, as I mentioned before, and it's in a bunch of bubble wrap because I'm precious, is of course, as Grant, or as Drew has, the big one to me, really close to my heart. And in light of Bonanza coming up, couldn't have been a better time. Like Drew brought up before, this last year of collaboration, both on his channel and our new channel, it's almost like it's just a strange, almost like it wasn't a coincidence. Like we had such a DK focus, got to see them perform, got to have both of us respectively sign our own copies of DK, of the last 3D platformer from DK, and now here we have Bonanza coming. So just a really cool coincidence.
It really is. Just like everything it's like that we've talked about. We like it pretty much. Like we had like just thinking about looking back at our first Kooky Questions series. So just with playing through Donkey Kong Country 2, we had a lot of questions by the Donkey Kong community. Just really deep dive conversation, make a conversation about Donkey Kong in general. That itself was so much fun, and thinking about everything that people wanted in a new Donkey Kong, like talking about their favorite Donkey Kong, and like everything since then leading up to that point, thinking about when we first saw the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, and that was the first like a harbinger, so to say, of the new Donkey Kong coming, when we saw the new redesign there, and it was like, oh, you know, it's like, is this something that's coming? And it was something there, and it's like, and Donkey Kong is back, and that is incredible. We have a few more things we need to discuss on this here. Would you wanted to talk about some of the music from the Game On Expo there?
Yeah, so I wasn't able to see them. I did see our fellow YouTuber that a lot of people know, was a really big draw to that place. James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd. He was there with his band, and he was there signing things for the duration of the con. For me, a really big influence musically, and a really cool guy that I've met in the VGM community, video game music community, Family Jules was there, and he did a lot of really cool covers, a lot of original ideas. They had like some Ocarina of Time, some Final Fantasy VII. They had a lot of cool stuff there. And he actually did, I believe it was Pokemon Red. He asked someone in the audience who thinks they can, get the furthest in Pokemon Red without having a KO. And they brought someone on stage, and he played the applicable music to every scene taking place on the big screen while that person played through Pokemon Red.
Whoa, how long was that person playing?
For quite a while, in fact. So coincidentally enough, when I started walking away, I was going, okay, they're doing quite well. They're lasting quite a while. And Jules was, as the video will show, he was getting a little bit tired with like having to play the battle theme, because they were getting attacked by wild Pokemon more than yeah. And he was like, man, like I was like, there's so many, the bad RNG. So but yeah, so like going through that, when it was going on for a while, I heard a lot of it, and I wanted to make time to go meet Drew there, because we had stuffed a lot into the schedule, and I was just backing out to go meet with Drew, and kind of just listening from at the distance since I left the crowd to the last of the Pokemon songs. And that's immediately when I met Drew and his wife and kids there, which was a great experience. And I'll go ahead and here in a minute, we'll talk about a little bit, or rather we'll show a little bit of footage from Living Tombstone, who was also a very big draw, musical guest that they had at the con this year. So really cool. Casey, my girlfriend, Sell the Badger, huge fan of Living Tombstone. She's kind of introduced me to quite a bit of their music. Like, I've known Living Tombstone for quite some time. Spooky, Scary Skeletons, and some of the FNAF music that they've done. The Hope You Die in a Fire. A lot of cool songs that they've done, and was able to hear all those and more at that concert. So yeah, I'll throw some footage in right now, some of the musical guests.
Show 2025. I love
too hot, I gotta stop. Turn the plan on, turn the fan on. Melting from the inside, trying to stand on fire. Down wires, it's got a virus. Thought I was a newbie, back to the old town. Room, trapped in a padded room. A world where powerless flowers and damn food. Still a smooth river bar. Diagnosed to dose, just for looking at the stars. Stars in your eyes, I can tell, but you're living in denial. Try out, living in hell. You'll be sick of confusion. Start the confusion. Robotic is better than human. Have you figured out what the pop quiz is yet? Tracer. What about Widowmaker? I'll be Bastion. Alright, so Winston. I guess I'll be Genji. Then I'll be McCree. I have an idea. You should be. Okay, are you ready for this job? Let's do We have been Hero One, Lost, Armstrong, Tesla, and Doc. And together we are the Living Tombstone!
I think we should at this point here just go ahead and talk about the panel and like some of your experience with that, because of course I sadly was not able to go to that because they had it on Sunday. We had to go back because the kids have school on Monday and we can't marathon a whole day. It was not going to work.
But yeah, like as Drew said, like we kind of traded this time around as far as panel attendance goes. Like so last year I can never really make the Fridays. Fridays are big days at my job, so I had to be there for Friday. We were able to get out and we almost made it to like the end of the opening of the panel or opening day of the panel this year. But Drew last year made it to the panel, which he's posted some things on his channel. And there's actually, well, you can have a link to the original panel maybe. Yeah, it's on YouTube. This one hasn't been uploaded yet. So like I was able to attend the one on Sunday. And got to ask a question both from my mind and actually Drew. I went and asked the Kooky Crew server, which you can join on Discord if you're interested. We'll have the link in the description if you want to join the Kooky Crew.
It continues to grow and continues to get more and more people there. The Kooky Crew place is a great place to go to because like it really is kind of like our hind mive of like creating like kooky content a lot of the time, where like people a lot of times the guests that we feature on this channel are members of the Kooky Crew, and we can get ideas from you. We can like kind of like update each other with like the latest news and so on and so forth, and just have a good time just talking about things that we enjoy there. So yeah, by all means, check out the description. There's a link to the Kooky Crew. Feel you're all more welcome to go to join that and continue making it a more and more awesome place.
Yeah, definitely join the Kooky Crew dojo. It's a really cool place where we'll shout you out and we can pull information from there. And we also have guests through there. We have events and games, and we'll have one soon. I think a last spotlight, sort of a last hoorah for Mario Kart 8 as the main Mario Kart spotlight currently. But yeah, so I mean, talking about like the rare panel, this year, it's kind of like last year, but really cool again, just to like mention. Chris Sutherland, Steve Males, and a lot of Banjo-Kazooie focus this year. So I was actually able to ask a question that Drew went ahead and gave me a suggestion on the Kooky Crew server there. And we'll have that in the footage here. And it was just a really cool panel. So I'll go ahead and show you guys all the footage I got, and hopefully people will upload more later. But yeah, take a look.
It's really small.
But if we want to just go down and do quick intros and maybe what you had worked on in the past,
What was that?
line.
Sutherland. I started off as a software engineer, also did voices, which I go back to things like Banjo-Kazooie, and then worked on things like Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, was producer of Vida Pinata, did a whole set of other things like even worked on Connect. Then we left Rare and worked on ukulele, and then later this year we're bringing out ukulele, which is a remaster with lots of extra new features. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So he thought, Steve does it once, he goes, what? Anchor, like that. So we thought it funny, they went, whoa, anchor. So they kind of, there's lots of us, this goes, wanker. And no one kind of spotted that. We thought that was hilarious. Steve's like, should be cast. I thought, let's put it in and see whatever goes. One by itself just goes, whoa, anchor. So it's fun, that's one of them. But was that 4 or 5? It's just wanker. So, you know, there you go.
That's what the mods will find when they're working on your game in the code. Wait a second. Wank that WAV.
Yeah, I didn't get to do any of the cool voices for the stuff people remember, like Grant says. I just did some Grab by the Door stuff, but it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I've completely forgotten about that, but no one knows about that.
Yeah. Well, I think I was going to open it up for questions.
Traditional Conquest Back Friday, and then what we were doing with banjo was we just had a lower resolution, but so it was difficult in that sense because we were trying to match what we had done before, and the technology wouldn't really allow us, but we got as close as we could.
Yeah, it almost felt like a step backwards going to the N64 really, because we had, well, it wasn't polygons, it was NURBS to create the 3D models in Donkey Kong Country, and they could be as as smooth as you like, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're done with that now, here's your next steep learning curve. It's like, it's real-time 3D where you've got like 400 polygons for a character, off you go. And I'm like, my first thing was like, I can't even see it, and someone said, oh, the normals are pointing the wrong way. What the hell's a normal? We didn't know absolutely nothing about this stuff, but you just start again and yeah, just do your best.
Yeah, that has to be like a bit discouraging.
Yeah, definitely, but yeah, we soon learned to love the M64.
Sure, yeah.
It was a great time, and I rather naively thought, that period of success would never end, but it did end. So.
Yeah, well, just a quick touch on that. Did you get any sort of heads up that the software was moving in that direction, or even the hardware that was getting like an upgrade? Or was it just sort of, you get the assignment and go for it?
I guess when you're meaning in terms of 3D.
Yeah, like a warning that like, oh, we're moving from Super Nintendo to N64, and so.
Yeah, we knew that was coming, and probably more because Nintendo was promoting it as a big virtual reality was going to be the next big thing. So I think we had some maybe slightly early insight into that, but we still didn't really know. Often with these machines, you don't actually get the final hardware until quite late, so you shouldn't really know how many polygons you can throw it in. So you're kind of guessing a bit, saying, oh, hopefully we can do this, and trying to come up with tricks and ways around to kind of squeeze more out of it. So yeah, we had some idea, but we didn't really know exactly what power was going to happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we did struggle with the transition first when we thought, oh, it's 3D, we can do anything. We tried this game called Dream, and it was so ambitious. One example was we had there was two trolls chasing a boy and a dog, and by the end it was just one troll chasing the boy because it just couldn't handle it. It didn't have enough power for what we wanted. And then when we realised that we couldn't do that sort of game, and we tried to do something. So the early banjo was like, so it was a bit like a 2.5D thing. It wasn't full 3D yet, so we did. I don't think it was until we saw like Mario 64 we realised, this is the future. So that definitely helped us on our way.
Yes.
So after last year's performance, I got really deep into grants like photography.
Hey.
What was the inspiration behind banjo rejigging?
Banjo rejigging.
Yeah, so that was basically money. So I was kind of, people cover my stuff right, and they can cover it, and it goes all over the place, right? I don't get any money for that. And I was like, I can't do anything because Rare owns all that music, right? And I was like, and how do I get some money for my old music? How does that happen? Why can't I get money when everybody else is getting money? So I kind of finally, I didn't realise till then that you can bona fidely cover any piece of music as long as it's had a release. So like you could get the latest Lady Gaga track and you can cover it if you wanted to. As long as you put it through the right things, you get a little royalty from it, you can cover it and no one can stop you doing it right. So there's a site called Sounddrop. And I found that. So I thought, right, I can redo my banjo tracks. I own the masters. They take care of paying the license fee to Microsoft or whatever it is. And I can make money out of it. So oh, this is pretty cool. And I thought, but I have to do, remixes because I can't do them how it is originally. And so I just thought, do metal versions and whatever. So I'm a metal fan, right? So, and then after that, I was like, oh, I've realised that I can do it exactly as it was in the game. As long as I'm not using any actual game assets, that's still a bona fide cover version, as long as it's got a release. So I can only do what I put on the DK64 CD or the Banjo-Kazooie CD, as long as it has to be a release. So when I did the DK64 one, I've just done with the material, just come out a few weeks ago. And I also realised that for bands, I think like it just as it was. So I just did the DK stuff from that game exactly as it was in the game, just better quality. If it's a violin, it's a better quality violin. If it's a trumpet, a better quality trumpet.
about struggles in development. So, Steve, I know you worked with your brother Greg. So, was there any confliction ever? I know with Banjo-Kazooie, you had to kind of design the character around some design elements like flying and whatever with Kazooie. And can I do a two-parter? Ask everyone else what they think of the new Donkey Kong game that's just come out.
So the first one, was there any friction working with family in a professional capacity?
Definitely.
Honestly, no. It was all fantastic. You know, it was that's the best game making experience I've had, is making like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie. It was just a great time. We had complete faith in like the direction that Tim and Greg were taking both games, and it was very collaborative. We work often the best ideas will come sort of late at night, because we work such silly hours, like midnight most evenings. Well, apart from Grant, who was always off at 5.
Gotta keep it to schedule.
So I think that's when some of the best ideas will come about. Just like I'd walk into Greg's room and say, "Oh, you know, what about this?" Or he'd say, "Yeah, try that." And not, as far as I can remember, nothing ever really got kind of thrown out, like it wasn't used. I guess we're under such time pressures, there probably wasn't time for that. And the graphical bar was probably lower than it is today. But these days, you know, assets get chucked out left, right, and centre, which is a shame because it takes a lot longer to make assets these days. But yeah, it was a great time. And the Donkey Kong, I love him. I think he looks great. I love what they've done, giving him a lot more expression. And people say, "Oh, he looks different," but he only needs to pull that rounded brow, you know, down over his eyes, and he does look a lot like the the original Rare one. So it's all good. Just can't wait to see more. But it looks like the Kremlins aren't going to be in, unfortunately. So no K rule, I don't think.
Yeah, I think doing Banjo-Kazooie was the most fun that all of us have had, and I feel like in those days, like 15 of us or something like that, and we hung out together. We went and drinking together, we took the piss out of each other non-stop. And I just feel like the old jokes just would go round and round and round and round. And it was just brilliant to be, you know, it's such a good time together doing that game. And I feel like it bled into the game. I think like the humour that we had calling to the names up the corridor like we were doing all day long, you know, just bled into the game. And just that's why it's got that kind of brilliant humour to it, because that was just us taking the piss out of each other non-stop, right? So it was a fantastic time. So I think when you get along so great like that, you can't help but have that passion. It just gets into the game. I remember when we did my Rabbids games, people sort of said they felt the passion in the game, because the team loved Nintendo so much, they loved working with Mario so much, you couldn't believe it, you know. So I think I really believe that after doing Banjo, I'd never feel, like Steve says, I'll never feel that way ever again. So I think the Mario Rabbids guys are very much like that. It was very heartening, you know. But you can't beat that. Just like when we started to do ukulele, it was just like it'd been like Banjo-Tooie was yesterday and ukulele was the next day, because it just was all rockers got wives and kids and mortgages now, you know. So just the piss taking was just relentless, just the same as it was. The same jokes, nothing had changed. It was just like we haven't grown up at all, you know. So it was brilliant to kind of revisit that. So they were really magical. I feel like it'd just been at Rare in that kind of magical years. We were so lucky to be there, because I feel like everything Rare touched in those days really turned to gold, and I just think it was part of the whole ethos. So I think it did bleed down from Tim and Chris Stamper. They're really fantastic people to work for, and they had such fantastic ideas, and it just bled for the entire staff. So I think that you know, there's just rounding the bottom, right? So the new GK game, I think it'll be fantastic. I'd like to read music for it, but I didn't. It's quite cool that you used the old banana when they picked the banana up. So I thought this sounded a bit like me, but it's not. But I thought that was quite cool. So I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Nintendo make great stuff, so it'll be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When I saw it, I thought that was great. Very excited to see it. Just hoping I can get my hand on the Switch in time.
Switch 2, yeah.
Switch 2 to be able to play. I'm really fascinated to see how they've worked on the 10-line mechanic. That's often a challenge, that kind of thing, for different reasons, like how you handle the camera view, what's it look like, and so it's things that not only we've attempted before specifically, but things that you consider, oh, how would that work? So I was fascinated with another developer, particularly Nintendo, because they would have done, they would have researched that, they would have tried so many things. So I would expect that game to be worked on for quite some time. I don't know the exact history of it myself, I'm interested to find out. So yeah, definitely very excited to see what comes from that.
Yeah. How much fun was Banjo-Kazooie with us?
Yeah, any family mention or...
That was good.
All right, so that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about as far as like the just, I almost said kooky convention, but it's not a kooky convention, but that rolls off the tongue as well. We tend
the Kooky convention panel is not official yet.
No, it's not, but we do tend to go with our cuss sounds there, with our naming and such. But man, the Game On Expo was really good to go to. Good again, just it feels like it's just come full circle as far as just our collaborations together and where things have gone from there, both of the stuff that we've done and like the community that we've gradually grown, especially like with the Discord server as mentioned before. But it's been really great. It's been really great to work in this and to again just revisit that expo and have the experiences there. Love the love the booths, love the gaming, love the just the cool people I was able to meet, like even just mentioning meeting Grant Kirk again for a second time, just awesome guy. The two other Banjo-Kazooie folks, Steve Males, Chris Sutherland, other guests I mentioned, Bluth, again just fantastic people to meet there. And yeah, and Sam of course had some great experiences there too with the music and panel and otherwise, and you wanted to give some of your final wrap-up thoughts for that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I want to mention sitting down at that said panel, we were sat pretty early waiting for it, and the guys were late. If someone does record it, you'll hear me kind of just being like kind of a narc to them going, "You're late." But and then Grant, of course, as he takes that type of stuff pretty well. But before all that, just prior to them coming in, a little late on the panel showing there, Courtney Krosner, known as Dixie Kong in the community, really cool Rare member. She actually just came and sat next to us and introduced herself. And my understanding is Milk Dud, someone who's prominent in the Kooky Crew, she was actually there as well. Didn't get to see her, but we'll put a picture she took with Grant Kirkhope. And yeah, just a really cool, really awesome panel. Like Drew said, got to meet some really cool people that honestly I look up to a lot. And yeah, had some really cool conversations, both with Drew and with these Rare devs. So many people that are so impactful to my childhood that were just like instrumental in so many games, especially Banjo-Kazooie and some of our favorites growing up that are really pertinent on this channel. And yeah, just after a whole year of collaboration with Drew, starting on his channel and moving over here, just it's been a great time to kind of reflect and, as we said, kind of like meet where it all started. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming still on this channel. We're really I've myself had kind of a resurgence of like a drive to really continue. We had a really great response to our first Kooky Questions stream. We'll be bringing Kooky Questions back, and yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff planned, so stay tuned for that, guys. It should be some cool stuff coming up.
And of course, as always, if you enjoy this kind of content, and especially like whether you were following this before when it was on the Nostalgic channel, and just tuning in again here, just subscribe to this channel for all further Kooky content. Drop a like on this video, share it, post it on the socials there. But we appreciate all your support so much. Like even just these last few months as we've kind of restarted this channel here on this new venue. And we thank you all so much, and we hope you all have an excellent and amazing day.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. And from me, Drew, and the Kooky Crew, I appreciate you guys watching again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.